This is a short video on how to take the graphics generated by SIMEtrix SIMPLIS and either save them as standalone files or insert them into an external application. The menu items we will discuss are shown below here. Under the File menu, we have menu items to save the graph in SIMEtrix SIMPLIS XML format, save it as a PDF, or save it as a picture. Under the Edit menu, we have the Copy Graphics menu item to copy and paste the graph into an external application. The last two items have various format options. We'll talk about formats on the next slide. Here's a simplified view of the categories the graphical formats fall into. One is called the Raster Image, which basically stores the information as a pixel array. As a result, the exported graph will get blurry when enlarged depending upon the resolution. The types that can be exported are JPG, BMP, and PNG. Vector images, on the other hand, store the graphs as math formulas, which can be easily scaled by multiplying and dividing. This makes them a much more efficient way to store curves and better for printing. EMF is a Windows-based scalable format, and SVG is a scalable format used in some non-Windows-based applications. The PDF files exported by SIMEtrix SIMPLIS are also scalable. The SIMEtrix SIMPLIS format is not technically a graphics file. It is an XML file that contains all the information from the original run, plus any modifications. It can be re-imported without loss in resolution, and also can be edited in the same way as the original file. In that sense, it is very scalable. Note that some of these files can get quite large depending upon the simulation run settings. Here we have a simulation which has already been run. And the first thing we'll want to do before we get started storing graphics is to click anywhere in the graphics page, and you'll note that the menu selection bar up here changed after I clicked in there. So first, let's make a few modifications before we start storing it. First, we'll zoom into one part of the graph here. Let's go up to annotation. We could add any of these. And let's add a legend box, and we could add measurements, or we could put the cursors on it. It would also export those additions to the graph. Now here's different ways to store. We come over here to File. First one here is Save Graph, which saves it in SIMEtrix SIMPLIS format. We'll come in here and simply click Save. We could also save as a PDF. We'll skip that one. Let's go down to Save Picture, and numerous options come up. If I come down here and open up the menu, there are options to save it in bitmap format, specify the image size of bitmap format, save it as EMF, or save it in an SVG file. Let's save it as a JPG file. Note that the default option there is PNG. We simply change the extension over here to JPG and click Save, and it saves that file away. And let's also save it in one of the scalable formats. Let's come down here and pick the SVG format, save that. And the other way to save things would be to come over here and do Copy Graphics. We could save it as an EMF, a bitmap, or a black and white graph. Let's do the EMF file. Come in here to open a blank Word document. Just do a right click and paste, and graphics gets pasted in there as a nice resolution. Let's go ahead back now and look at some of these files that we saved and see how they turned out. So first, let's look at the JPG format. Click on that, and the graph comes up. It looks fairly decent in terms of clarity, except as I go ahead and zoom into this more, you'll notice the lettering gets blurry, the graph gets blurry, there's some blotches in there, etc. That's because this is the basically, like I said before, it's a pixel array. Let's go here and look at the SVG format. And here again it looks clear, but if I come down here to the lower right and let me zoom in 400%, as I zoom in, the graph is still nice and sharp, and if I scroll over to the left here, the numbering on the axis is also very sharp. Okay. Last, let's go ahead and we'll delete the graphics from here. Or if we wanted to, we could exit the application and come back a day later and do the same operation. Come over here to File, Open, and we'll look for graph files. And here is the file that we stored earlier in the SIMETRIX SIMPLIS format. Open that up, and it comes back. It has the legend. If I come into the graph here, I could still see down below here that it's actually measuring all the numbers. All that data is stored. Again, we can do whatever we did with this graph originally, including if I come here and I want to zoom out, all that information from the entire curve is there. Or if I want to go ahead and zoom in, you can see that we have excellent resolution as we zoom in. So whatever resolution we originally stored it in, with based on the number of points in the run, we still have that. This wraps up our short video on how to save graphics from SIMETRIX SIMPLIS into a standalone file or pasting it into an external application. This page summarizes the various menu items used and the types of formats that can be generated.